Ozark Season 4 Part 2, Ruth's Hallucinations Explained. Throughout Season 4 Part 2, we saw Ruth have hallucinations of people, dangerous acts, lost loved ones, and 2 wild animals in the city. At the end of the show, it left me wondering what they all meant and why they were featured so heavily in this final season. Well, let's jump in. Here is Ozark Season 4 Part 2, Ruth's Hallucinations Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Season 4 Part 2 provided a slightly different view on Ruth. If anything, we got the most amounts of solo screen time with her when compared to any previous season that we've had of the show before. We picked up with her following on from the end of Part 1, where she was driving off in the car, and it started off with a reflection of her thinking back to times of herself and Wyatt when he was still alive. This was different to what we went on to see later on in the show. This was a moment where she was aware of what she was doing, and her bridge between reality and what is false is still intact. One of the first moments of an outer-body vision was the moment that we originally saw in the trailer, and it was where she got revenge on Harvey out in the open. She was driving down the highway when this moment happened, and it was something she was envisaging whilst not fully being aware. It symbolized the rage, anger, and blood-boiling mentality that she had at the time. But the one in the first episode that I think has a stronger meaning to it occurred shortly after she left the diner with her coffee, and in the reflection of her car mirror she saw 2 wild animals roaming the streets. This happened at a pivotal moment, where it was following on directly from when she had the conversation and said how she simply can't sleep because you know why. I think this was showing that her reality was being warped somehow due to the lack of sleep, and also the fact that a root cause of hallucinations can be attributed to bereavement, which is something that Ruth was definitely going through and had quite simply taken over her life. Her sole purpose at that point was to get revenge. I also think her seeing those 2 wild animals symbolized her behavior. She was behaving like a feral animal, a predator hunting down its prey in Harvey and looking to seek revenge and get the blood that she so desired. As the episode went on, she had another hallucination that was around killing Marty and Wendy Bird. I think this one was down to the fact that she felt as though they're the reason why she lost all of her family members over the years, which Marty does openly admit from time to time. She believed that they didn't deserve the happy ending that it appeared that they were going to get, and deep down that's what she wanted to do to them. From this point onwards, we then saw a different side to the hallucinations that she was having. They became very reminiscent in the sense that they were conversations with Wyatt and visions of her seeing her family back around the trailers and living their life like they were before all of this chaos happened. This one occurred directly from Ruth waking up and looking dazed upon coming to it. She stepped outside and her whole family was there, singing and cooking a barbecue. Even Wyatt was in his usual spot on top of the trailer, and she believed that they were speaking with her. This was her reality. Until 3 stepped in and asked who she was speaking with. We got a slow pan round where it moved around her. She said to 3 how Wyatt was there, and then the song that we heard when she was witnessing her family, which was Russ singing the guitar, it started playing again, showing us that she was back in that mental state, connecting her mind and reality together again. This was her way of dealing with the grief, and it was clearly weighing a heavy toll on her mind. She was severely lonely, and with all of that time, space, and nobody to grieve with, I believe she morphed this into her way of dealing with it. I also think her killing Harvey, when we saw in the opening episode that she felt she didn't have the guts to do it, could also be weighing on her mind too and causing this to happen. We knew that Ruth and Wyatt were close, and in this season we saw the hallucinations focus on meetings in what would be Ruth's present day, but we saw for a fact that nobody else could see them, due to Marty looking up and there being nobody there, and him looking puzzled, and even 3 approaching her and asking who she was speaking with. I think Ruth had some kind of mental illness at this point in the show. We've seen Ozark tackle it before, so it's not territory that they would steer away from. We also saw Ruth speak with Wendy when she was in the facility, and she asked if it was bad inside of the clinic that she was in. She implied and referenced that she was talking about Ben, but when I was watching it, I felt and think that there was an allusion to the fact that she was genuinely intrigued to know what it was like in there, in case she felt like she herself had to be committed one day, because Ruth's mental state didn't seem in a stable place. The shot at the start of the final episode didn't look like she had the right frame of mind. She looked troubled and not 100% with it. Ruth didn't fear death in the final episode when it stared her right down in the face. Why? Because I believe she had come to terms with what was going to happen, and in her mind she was going to be with her family. Ruth was a Langmore, something that she took pride in, as even when she had the opportunity to wipe her slate clean, she wanted to keep it. Ruth knew she would be with her family again, and that was something that these visions implied and allowed her to get that comfort and bravery in her final moments. It was an interesting take to incorporate these hallucinations into Ruth's arc in Season 4 Part 2, but I think it allowed us to understand the character more, her intentions, what she was feeling, and why she was doing what she was. So, there you have it, why I believe we saw Ruth's hallucinations. What did you think of this final season? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.